Dear colleagues, this is a video training course which is designed for preparation for PT practical exam at Scientific and Educational Center Качество. Penetrant testing consists of several stages. The first stage is the preparation for inspection. The second one is inspection itself, in other words, application of PT materials. The third stage is intended at registration of the testing results and assessment of the part and acceptance criteria. And at the fourth stage, specific actions after the test is completed should be taken. Preparation for testing consists of the following. Firstly, we are to check if all the necessary equipment and testing means are available. The lux meter is required to check the illumination at the testing area. Sensitivity check samples are used to verify the performance of PT materials. The visual inspection toolkit is needed to measure location and dimensions of indications found. Portable flashlight could be used to increase lighting level at inspection area. Roughness samples would help to define the roughness of surfaces. A tool for measuring temperature and humidity is also presented. A set of PT materials, which consists of a cleaner, a penetrant, and a developer, is the main part of testing. Cotton napkins are used to remove materials applied and clean surfaces to be tested. Please use personal protective equipment, a mask, glasses, lab coat, and gloves. All items of measuring equipment, as well as sensitivity check samples, should have calibration certificates. All the certificates must be kept in a specific log. Moreover, each equipment item should carry the mark reflecting data on its calibration or verification. The next stage of preparation for testing is checking the compliance of test conditions with the requirements of the normative and technical documentation. First, lighting conditions are verified. Then, temperature is measured. Next, humidity measurement is performed. And finally, the roughness of the surface of the object to be tested is defined. Illumination level is measured via a lux meter. We install the sensor of the lux meter on the inspection area and then turn on the device. The display shows the value of illumination on the inspection surface. As it can be seen, the value is about 1100 lux. To measure temperature and humidity, we use a psychrometric hygrometer. It measures temperature and calculates humidity accordingly. In our case, the ambient temperature is 22 degrees Celsius. The data on temperature obtained using dry and wet thermometers are not equal, and the difference between those values is 4 degrees. The value of humidity, which corresponds to that temperature difference, is 65%. To apply penetrant testing method, it is required that the value of roughness of the inspected surface does not exceed RZ20. To make sure of this, we use a set of roughness samples. We take a sample kit and, starting with RZ20 sample, we compare its roughness with the roughness of the test surface. Analyzing the tactile sense in each case, we can conclude that the roughness does not exceed the limits. The next preparatory operation is the verification of PT materials. First of all, PT materials are to be of the same manufacturer. In addition, they should have valid expiration date, which is checked on the back of the tube. Similarly, we examine the cleaner and the developer. Sensitivity samples are used to monitor the sensitivity of PT materials. To confirm the quality of the PT materials, the operations of the whole testing cycle are performed on the sensitivity sample class 2. The check starts with the degreasing of the inspected sample surface. We take a cotton napkin, wet with a cleaner, and degrease the surface by dabbing it. This stage is aimed at removal all grease and other possible contaminants from the surface to be tested. Via this action, cavity of the discontinuity is cleaned. It takes some time for cleaner to evaporate. It will take 1 to 2 minutes because the process runs fast enough. After drying, the penetrant is applied from a distance of 100 to 150 millimeters. We have to be sure that the surface is wet. The penetration time usually is in a range of 5 to 10 minutes. Avoid the surface drying throughout the penetration time. It might be achieved by application of more layers of penetrant. After exposure under the penetrant, it is necessary to remove the excess penetrant from the surface to be tested. It is to be done using a cotton napkin. The proper attention is to be paid to holes and cavities. If the penetrant is not removed the proper way, the rest of it will then affect inspection result. After wiping away the excess of penetrant, the surface is to be carefully inspected. Make sure that there are no traces of penetrant. If the traces are still on the surface, they are to be wiped away using a cleaner and a cotton cloth. Then the developer is applied in a thin, even layer. Prior to it, the can with developer is to be shaken 1 or 2 minutes to obtain a homogeneous consistency. Then the developer is applied to the surface of the part to be tested. To obtain an even layer, it is necessary to start and to finish spraying beside the part, in other words, outside of the part edges. The distance to the surface should be from 250 to 300 millimeters. The thickness of the layer depends on how fast the sprayer is moved along the part surface. After the first layer is applied, it is necessary to observe it. Applying the developer to the surface is to be observed steadily. The metal surface of the part should not be glossy and visible under the developer cover. Developer is to be applied by very thin layers several times to hide the metal surface of the part. When the proper state is achieved, the part is left exposed under the developer. It will take 20 to 30 minutes. When the exposure time is over, it is necessary to compare the results of the inspection with the image from the passport of the sample. If the flow pattern is the same, PT materials are serviceable for continued operation. Now we proceed to the inspection of the object that we need to test. First, we check if the surface is free from any contamination. The surface must be clean. After that, we repeat the testing process as it was performed using sensitivity check sample. First, we degrease the surface, dabbing it with a cloth wet with cleaner. There are two different parts to be tested. First part is a rod product. The second one is a welder joint. It is necessary to wait until cleaner is vaporized from a surface. Then the penetrant is applied. The requirements for applying the penetrant are the same as those in regard to sensitivity reference block. The surface must be wet. The distance from the surface to the spreading nozzle has to be in range from 100 to 150 millimeters. The penetration takes 5 to 10 minutes. Then, the excess penetrant is removed from the surface to be tested using dry cotton napkins. It is to be highlighted that the edges and holes, if any, must be cleaned. The surface is inspected afterwards. If there is a colored background, a cleaner is to be applied. Wet a piece of cotton cloth with it and make up the part surface. It is very important during intermediate cleaning not to remove the penetrant from the cavity of any discontinuity. Then the developer is applied. Prior to it, the can with developer is to be shaken 1 or 2 minutes to obtain a homogeneous consistency. While applying the developer, the surface of the object to be tested is to be observed to control the proper layer thickness. Wait 20 to 30 minutes. It is the exposure time. To perform a luminescent method of penetrant testing, it is necessary to prepare the following equipment: a set of sensitivity reference samples similar to those for dye penetrant inspection, lux meter, visual testing toolkit, roughness samples, a thermometer, hygrometer, and personal protective equipment. Extra equipment is a radiometer for measuring ultraviolet irradiance and UV lamp. Performing the luminescent inspection. The inspection conditions are checked similarly as it was done in regard to dye penetrant inspection. Nevertheless, there is one more parameter to be measured. It is amount of ultraviolet irradiance. The stages of penetrant inspection with the use of luminescent penetrant are similar to the dye penetrant inspection. Inspection conditions are checked in the same way. Then, the necessary work prior to testing is carried out. Next, the inspection itself is performed. Test results are registered, and finally, specific actions after test is completed should be taken. The test conditions are checked via the necessary equipment, respectively. Illumination is measured using a lux meter. Temperature and humidity are measured via a psychrometric hygrometer, and the quality of PT materials is checked using a sensitivity check sample. The luminescent method of inspection is more sensitive, so the sensitivity check samples of the first sensitivity class are used. Radiometer measures the amount of ultraviolet irradiance during the test conducted via an ultraviolet lamp. Luminescent technique is applied in a darkened room. The level of illumination in the examination room should not exceed 20 lux. To confirm the compliance with such a requirement, the illumination in the testing area is measured. It is 3 lux. The value of ultraviolet irradiance is measured in a darkened room using a radiometer. The glowing lamp is installed at a distance of 38 centimeters from the sensor, and the amount of ultraviolet irradiance is measured. It should be not less than 1000 microwatts per square centimeter. Just like in case of the dye penetrant testing, it is necessary to check the quality of PT materials. They are to be of the same manufacturer. In addition, they should have valid expiration date, which is checked on the back of the tube. To confirm the quality of the PT materials, the operations of the whole testing cycle on the sensitivity sample class 1 are performed. The procedure begins with dabbing the contamination away. The surface of the sample to be tested is degreased and cleaned. The part is left to dry for 1 to 2 minutes. Then a fluorescent penetrant is applied to the surface of the inspected sample. The surface must be fully covered with it. Penetration time is 5 to 10 minutes. The quality of cleaning is checked via an ultraviolet lamp. There should not be strong background glow on the surface. In our case, the background is dark. To remove excess background, we use a cotton napkin wet with a cleaner. And so we repeat the procedure until we achieve the desired result. After the excess penetrant has been removed, a developer is applied to the surface. The developer is applied in the same way as it was done during dye penetrant testing. First step is to shake the can for 1 or 2 minutes, and then a thin, even layer of developer is applied. Evaluation of the inspection results is carried out in a darkened room under the UV light. We proceed to the inspection of the part to be tested. It will be carried out the same way as it was performed using the dye penetrant testing. The surface is to be inspected visually so that there are no contaminants. Then, we degrease the surface, dabbing it via a napkin wet with a cleaner. Leave the part for 1 to 2 minutes and then apply the penetrant. Application requirements are the same. The area of interest must be fully covered with penetrant. Keep the penetrant on the part during the exposure time. After exposure under the penetrant, we carry out intermediate cleaning. Use a cotton napkin to remove excess penetrant from the surface. The quality of cleaning is assessed under ultraviolet light in the examination room. After making sure that the quality of the intermediate cleaning meets the requirements, we apply the developer. Shake the can thoroughly and apply the developer in a thin, even layer. Hold for 20 to 30 minutes. Thank you for your attention. We are waiting for you in our center.